So I have celery in here. It was looking bad, so I cut it back to see if it'll regrow, which I think it will. The begonias I started pulling. I finished up in the rain. Let's just get it go. Lantana, 1 of 3. I may get the other 2 today because I'm replacing the lantanas. I'm replacing the lantanas with English daisies, which do well in the cold. So the begonias last year did better in the greenhouse, and the lantanas did wonderful in the greenhouse, and then I moved them. These are the English daisies. Can't remember, somewhere where I was working they came up, and I put them in pots because I knew I'd need them later for somewhere. I already planted one yesterday. Let me show you what they look like when they're blooming. They do not do well in the heat. In the middle of the summer, they kind of get shrivelly and unattractive. But as soon as it cools off, they're recovering and starting to bloom all the way across here. So later when I come back here, they'll be blooming nice. Absolutely worth doing. I can use this stuff in this container to help fill in some of the bare spots where I'm working, because I'm going to put a tree in there. An evergreen. That is the pot that my weeping pussy willow came out of. Quite a bit bigger and wider than this pot. Tree did absolutely wonderful the first year in that pot, but I really need to pot it up. As I was edging, this is really super gravelly through here. So I'm going to see if I can get a hole big enough for bulbs. But I don't know about putting trees in the ground here. I really want trees here. How long can we keep them in a pot? Straw people, they need to be tied, but they're pushed back. I have to empty the wheelbarrow and get some soil. Still have to do the corner, but I'm going to wait because I want to get the tree planted and the bulbs in the ground. There are roots that were growing out of the bottom of the pot. The color difference in this pot is the bottom was compost that wasn't all the way composted, but the tree was small, the pot was small, and I put good potting soil on top of it, so it kind of helped keep the tree warm in the winter, the first winter. And I did the same thing with this. It's more composted though than the first batch that I used the first year. So this second year, nice root ball. Let's see if it fits. I'm going to take just a little bit of soil out. The other thing I did last year was I filled the top with mulch, which I'm going to do again this year because I'm mulching after I'm finished here. I thought I got all the begonias up. Look at this one. I only have a couple of pink ones. And this one doesn't look like one that I've wintered. Looks young. Anyway, I'm going to dig that one up. And I found another spider plant. I have dug up spider plants and brought them into the overflow. I found another one. I thought I only had 3, but I have 4. Spider plants came from a storm early in the season. I did a video about storm damage. Got quite a bit of views. But most of the damage was just, you know, stuff like baby spider plants blowing off the plant, leaves, branches, that sort of thing. So I took all the baby spider plants that had blown off that spider that were just sitting on the floor of the deck and just stuck them on top of the soil. It appears that they all rooted in. So I'm going to go get a pot, get the last begonia and the last spider plant. That is a snapdragon. It's not blooming very well, but I think it might. They do well in cool weather. I'm emptying out that pot that I showed at the beginning of the video or somewhere in there. Some bungleweed. It's really pretty. It's ground cover. There's a lot of different kinds of weeds like this. The bungleweeds that look different. Meaning you can find them out in the wild. Different varieties of this. I didn't know that when I bought it. I just really liked the leaf colors. I don't know how well this plant does in the cold. It's my first year with it. This looks terrible, but it's also a ground cover. I took out of that pot early in the season because it wasn't doing well. So finishing touches, I really do have this front of the deck done. Have another bungleweed down here. See how they do in the cold, see how they winter. If they survive, we'll see how they spread. I put some of the pot stuff here. The purple Elysium. I think this is a Vinca. It's not one I grow, but it was in that pot and I had to empty the pot. It's got really thick leathery foliage. Of course it's cold, it's dying back. I don't know how well that one does in the cold either. That's the finishing touches, the mulch. And I'll be finished with the side. I finished the edging even. Shalol. Today's just like the last few days. I have time in the morning to work and then it's going to rain. And then it's going to get really cold. I did get that passion fruit pulled. I think there's some things in the veggie garden I want to pull too. So when I finish with the mulch, I'm going to empty some dirt out of this pot so I can put a tree in there. Pretty good. Fall into winter gardening. Not bad. My daughter was walking the dog and asked if I could do a path of wood chips because it's really slippery and getting even worse and muddy here in the middle. Which I had the same idea an hour before she said it. And tree, which I want to mulch. And then I have two plants here that need to go in the ground. That is a foxglove. What is the little blue one? Finish the blue in this row. I need to mulch here. Kind of skipped right over this last corner where I put the weeping willow in. It's been edged. Added the Vincas that were in that pot that now has the tree in it in here. I want to see it from the other way though. Nicer. Nicer was what I was going for. But it is so break time. So if I put mulch in the walkways, then you can't really tell the difference between the gardens. You know, it was the separation point, but I'm going to conjoin these two garden areas. So there'll be a pathway. But in the end, it'll look like one big garden with a path. That'll work. I like that idea, because I've not been happy with this area. I don't know if I've ever been happy with it, but this garden here, which is the herb garden, just because I didn't know what else to do with it. This was my first vegetable garden. This is all I had. And we did a flower garden on the driveway side of the house. All of us worked on it. This is all I had before that one, which was enlarged 2 years ago. It's now a really big part of the yard. I was wondering how this was going to hold up. I grabbed from this grocery store. Outside they had plants. Just loved that buttery yellow color. But I didn't know how they would hold up. I'm happy with how they held up. They're not perfect, but I like them. These pots are fake planted. I had trimmed up the things around the deck and I didn't like how open it was, so I just grabbed some of my bigger deck pots and fake planted them. Works for me for this time of year.